Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and his messenger.
This story is inspired by true events and aims to reflect the experiences of many people who convert to Islam. While each person's journey to guidance is different, the common point is a sincere search and Allah's guidance.
I didn't convert to Islam to marry him. I converted to believe in the God he believed in. My love was just a flare on the path to the truth. Everything in Maria's life changed that autumn day. When she met Ahmed, a newly transferred colleague at the international company in Toronto where she worked, she thought he would be just a coworker. However, Ahmed's calmness, gentlemanly demeanor, and approach to his work quickly caught her attention. Maria, of Italian descent, was a 28-year-old successful marketing specialist. She was born and raised in Toronto, went to university in Boston, and had been working at the same company for the past 5 years. Although raised in a Catholic family, she had drifted away from religion during her university years and identified as agnostic. Her life was shaped around career goals, and romantic relationships had always taken a back seat. Ahmed was a 32-year-old industrial engineer, born and raised in a Pakistani family, but Canadian. After completing his master's degree in England, he had worked in London for a few years and had now been transferred to Toronto. It was immediately apparent that he was a calm and humble person. He never raised his voice when speaking, used respectful language in discussions, and treated everyone with equal distance. Maria's interest in Ahmed stemmed from his difference. He was very different from the other men she had met. He didn't drink alcohol, often read a book in a quiet corner during lunch breaks, and requested to leave early on Friday afternoons. At first, these behaviors seemed a little strange to Maria, but over time, she began to understand that behind this consistency lay a deep worldview. Other employees in the office sometimes joked about Ahmed's behaviors, especially finding his absence from company events with alcohol odd. But Maria realized she respected his choices. Ahmed never got defensive. He would politely say, "I don't drink, thank you," and drop the subject. For the first 3 months, Maria and Ahmed remained just colleagues. But while working on joint projects, Maria admired Ahmed's work ethic. He never lied, always kept his promises, and never remained silent when he witnessed injustice. Once, when he thought the company was being unfair to a client, he reported the situation to upper management, risking his own position. "You're so different," Maria said one day during lunch as they sat in the company cafeteria. "Isn't it difficult to be so honest in this day and age?" Ahmed took a sip of his coffee and smiled. "I can't say it's difficult. I just try to live according to the values I believe in." "What values are those?" Maria asked curiously. She knew Ahmed was Muslim because she had heard him get permission for Friday prayers, but her knowledge about Islam was extremely limited. "Islamic values," Ahmed said simply. "Honesty, justice, mercy. These aren't just words for me. They're a way of life. The teachings of the Holy Quran and our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, guide every moment of my life." After this conversation, Maria realized how little she knew about Islam. In her mind, she only had the mostly negative images she had learned from the media. The news reports after the 9/11 attacks, the stereotypes in Hollywood movies. But as she got to know Ahmed, she began to understand how wrong and incomplete those images were. "I had so many prejudices about Muslims," Maria confessed one day. "You're completely different." "I'm not different," Ahmed said calmly. "I'm just trying to live the real Islam. What's shown in the media is often not the true face of Islam. Just like in other religions, some people can use religion for their own interests. But the essence of Islam is peace, love, and justice." As the months passed, the friendship between Maria and Ahmed deepened. Maria began to learn more details about his lifestyle. She noticed that he prayed 5 times a day, fasted during Ramadan, and regularly read the Quran. She wondered how these practices were reflected in his personality. One afternoon, when they were alone in the office, Maria mustered her courage. "How does praying make you feel?" Ahmed answered with a thoughtful expression. "It gives me peace." Stopping 5 times amidst the hustle and bustle of the day to be alone with Allah cleanses my soul. It's like charging your phone. I receive spiritual energy. I entrust all my troubles and anxieties to Allah. Maria pondered this answer for a long time. She had never had such a source of peace in her life. In stressful moments, she tried yoga and meditation apps, but none of them were permanent. The peace Ahmed described seemed much deeper and more rooted. "What about fasting?" she asked curiously. "Isn't it difficult not to eat anything all day for a whole month?" "Of course it's difficult," Ahmed laughed, "but this difficulty is very valuable. When I feel hunger, I understand what the hungry in the world go through. I learn patience, I learn self-control. And every iftar time, I better appreciate the blessings Allah has given us." After these conversations, Maria began to research the topics Ahmed mentioned at home. She read articles about Islam online and listened to Islamic talks on YouTube. At first, she did this out of curiosity, but over time, she became genuinely impressed. Their relationship took on a new dimension in the 6th month. Maria realized her feelings for Ahmed were more than friendship. His calmness, reliability, and commitment to his principles had deeply affected her. However, she hesitated to express these feelings. One evening, when they stayed late at the office due to an internal project, Maria finally mustered her courage. "Ahmed," she said, the hesitation evident in her voice. "What would you say if I told you my feelings for you are more than friendship?" Ahmed was surprised by this unexpected revelation. There was a long silence. Then he took a deep breath. "Maria, this is very unexpected," he said gently. "You're a wonderful person, and I value you greatly. But you know I'm Muslim, and when I think about marriage, I would want my wife to be Muslim too." This answer intrigued Maria more than it upset her. "Why is that so important?" she asked. "Because marriage isn't just the union of 2 people," Ahmed explained. "Without shared values, shared beliefs, a shared life philosophy, there will be difficulties in the long term. When raising children, making big life decisions during difficult times, being able to draw strength from the same source is very important." After this conversation, Maria faced a serious decision. She knew her feelings for Ahmed were sincere, but she also acknowledged that what he said made sense. "Well," she said with determination in her voice, "if I wanted to learn about Islam, would you help me?" The expression on Ahmed's face changed. "Of course I'll help. But let's be clear, I'm not forcing you to convert. This must be your own decision, made only sincerely." When Maria returned home that night, she opened her laptop and began serious research. The basic beliefs of Islam, its worships, moral values. She read for hours. At first, she felt overwhelmed by the information bombardment, but over time, she began to establish a routine. The next day, she approached Ahmed. "Can you recommend an English translation of the Quran? And maybe some reliable sources about Islam?" Ahmed was very pleased. "Of course. Yusuf Ali's English translation is very good. I also recommend Karen Armstrong's book, Muhammad, a biography of the Prophet. She's a Western woman like you and wrote very objectively." That weekend, Maria went to the bookstore and bought these books. When she first opened the Quran, it seemed a bit complex, but over time, she began to find its rhythm. The verses about women's rights, justice, peace, and mercy particularly moved her. While reading Karen Armstrong's book, what she learned about the life of Prophet Muhammad surprised Maria. A portrait emerged that was very different from the image drawn in the media. His justice as a leader, his respect for women, his mercy even towards enemies. "Is this true?" she asked Ahmed one day. "Was Prophet Muhammad really like this?" "Yes," Ahmed said proudly. "He wasn't just a prophet. He was also a perfect example of a human being. As Muslims, we take him as our role model." As Maria advanced her research, Ahmed patiently helped her. He answered her questions, explained things she didn't understand, but never rushed her. 3 months had passed since she started her research. Maria now understood the basic concepts of Islam: Tawheed, monotheism, prayer, fasting, zakat, Hajj. But what impressed her most was the perspective this religion brought to daily life. One evening, sitting on her apartment balcony, she was reading the Quran. One of the verses she read that day wouldn't leave her mind. Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured. Surah Ar-Ra'd 28:13. At that moment, she felt she understood the peace Ahmed had described when talking about prayer. There was a strange serenity within her. It was as if a heavy burden she had been carrying for years had been lifted from her shoulders. The next day at the office, she approached Ahmed. "I had a very strange experience last night," she said. "I felt a peace in my heart while reading the Quran. Is that normal?" Ahmed smiled. "Very normal. The Quran is the word of Allah. It affects everyone who reads it with sincerity. But I'm not Muslim yet," Maria said with mixed emotions. "Faith is a feeling in the heart," Ahmed said. "Perhaps faith has begun to sprout in your heart without you realizing it." This conversation plunged Maria into deep thought. She really had been feeling a change within herself in recent months. She seemed calmer, more peaceful, more compassionate. Even her co-workers had begun to notice this change. The month of Ramadan had come, and Ahmed was fasting. Maria had the opportunity to observe his transformation during this process closely. Ahmed's attitude regarding patience, control, and spirituality impressed her greatly. "Could I try fasting too?" she asked one day. Ahmed was surprised. "Of course, but it's not obligatory. You're not Muslim yet." "I know, but I want to try. I want to understand this experience you're having." That day, Maria fasted for the first time in her life. It was difficult at first. She felt hungry by the afternoon. But when she broke her fast with the evening adhan, she felt an indescribable joy. It was as if she had achieved a small victory. This experience was a turning point for Maria. She had now begun to feel Islam not just intellectually, but with her heart. That evening, she thought long and hard at home. She reviewed the past year. There was a big difference between her life before knowing Ahmed and her current state. She was living a more peaceful, more meaningful, more purposeful life. "I wonder," she thought, "is this change just because of my love for Ahmed? Or have I truly started to believe in Islam?" To answer this question, she needed to be honest with herself. If Ahmed were to disappear from her life tomorrow, would she still continue to research this religion? Would she start praying? Would she become Muslim? When she heard the answer from the depths of her heart, she was surprised. Yes. Ahmed and Maryam got married 6 months after her conversion. The wedding was organized to be both in accordance with Islamic traditions and in a way that Maryam's family could participate. At the marriage ceremony, Imam Mahmud said, "This marriage is a special one. Because here, not just two hearts are uniting, but two people from two different cultures and pasts. But what unites them is Islam." In the first year of their marriage, Maryam had the opportunity to live Islam more deeply. She prayed the morning prayers with Ahmed, read the Quran together, and studied Islamic books. "You know," Maryam said to Ahmed one day, "at first I thought I became Muslim because I loved you. But now I understand that I actually became Muslim to love Allah. You were just the means that set me on this path." Ahmed smiled and held his wife's hand. That's what true love is. After tasting the love of Allah, you understand that love between people is also much deeper and more meaningful. 2 years after accepting Islam, Maryam began talking to other people around her about Islam. Especially her co-workers were curious. Everyone was surprised by Maria's transformation into Maryam. "Are you truly happy?" her co-worker Jennifer had asked. "Jennifer?" Maryam had said, "I've never felt such peace in my life. I have a purpose when I wake up in the morning, and I have so much to thank Allah for when I go to bed at night." As a result of these conversations, Jennifer and some other friends also began to research Islam. Maryam recommended books to them, answered their questions, but never pressured them, just like Ahmed. A year later, Jennifer also became Muslim and chose the name Jamila. "I saw you, Maryam," she had said, "and I understood that I wanted that peace too." In their 3rd year of marriage, Maryam and Ahmed's first child was born. The greatest gift for their daughter, whom they named Zainab, was that she would be raised with Islamic values. Maryam had prayed a lot during her pregnancy. "Oh Allah," she would supplicate, "help us raise this child as a servant close to you." When Zainab was born, Maryam felt a very special emotion as she held her baby. This child would be born into Islam, grow up in it, and learn its values naturally. "I think," she said to Ahmed one day, "how lucky our daughter is. We found Islam as adults, but she will grow up in this beauty from the moment she's born." Ahmed agreed. "Yes, but our responsibility is also great. We need to make her love Islam, teach her without forcing it." As the years passed, Maryam began to contribute to the Muslim community as well. She focused particularly on supporting new Muslim women. She founded a group called the New Muslim Women Support Group. In this group, women who had recently converted to Islam shared their experiences and helped each other with difficulties they faced. Maryam's own story inspired many women. Converting to Islam isn't just changing religions, she would say in group meetings. It's also building a new identity, acquiring new habits, sometimes walking the path you believe is right while risking losing your family. The group members included women from different countries and of different ages. They all had different stories, but their common point was the peace and meaning they found in Islam. Over time, Maryam's family also had the opportunity to get to know Islam more closely. Especially when they saw their granddaughter Zainab, they understood how beautiful the results of an Islamic upbringing could be. Zainab was growing up to be a very respectful, compassionate, and intelligent child. Her grandmother, Maryam's mother, once said, "This child has such beautiful values. Maybe your choice was right." Maryam's father also grew to love Ahmed very much over time. "This man makes my daughter very happy," he would tell his friends. "So what if there's a religious difference? What matters is being a good person." The biggest change was in her mother. Her mother, who was initially very opposed, gradually began to research Islam. She read the books Maryam gave her and had long conversations with Ahmed. "My daughter," she said one day, "I want the peace you found too." These words surprised Maryam greatly. Was her mother serious? Years later, when Maryam thought about the day she chose Islam, she could better understand how right her decision had been. She now had 2 children, Zainab and her little son Yusuf. Both were being raised with Islamic values. "Mom," Zainab had said one day, "how did you become Muslim?" As Maryam told her daughter her story, she remembered those first days. Meeting Ahmed, her curiosity, her research, her discovery, and finally, her faith. "My daughter," she had said, "this journey started because I loved your father, but it continued because I loved Allah." This story had deeply affected Zainab. She admired her mother's courage and sincerity. "So love was just the beginning," the little girl had said thoughtfully. "Exactly, my dear," Maryam had said, smiling. "Love was like a flare that led me to the right path. But true happiness was hidden in knowing Allah."
On Maryam's 40th birthday, an unexpected development occurred. Her mother, Linda, after a long period of research on Islam, made a serious decision. "Maryam," she said on the phone one Sunday, "I want to become Muslim too." Maryam was so surprised she almost dropped the phone. "Mom, are you sure? This is a very big decision." "Yes, my daughter, very sure. Your story made me think. I read the Quran, I researched Islam. I never thought I could find such peace at my age." Linda, at 65 years old, chose the name Fatima and became Muslim. As her granddaughter Zainab taught her how to pray her first prayer, 3 generations of women prayed together. That moment was very emotional for Maryam. "Oh Allah," she prayed, "you didn't just make me Muslim. You made me a means for my family's guidance."
Years passed, and Maryam was now 45. It had been 17 years since she chose Islam. The support group she founded had grown and continued. Hundreds of women had benefited from this group, and some had also become Muslim. One day at a group meeting, a young woman asked, "Sister Maryam, were there ever moments you regretted it?" Maryam took a deep breath. No, I never regretted it for a single moment. But I can't say it was easy either. Especially in the early years, family pressure, societal prejudices, learning a new language, making the 5 daily prayers a habit, all of that was difficult. But after every difficulty came beauty. After every hardship came relief. "And when were you happiest?" someone else asked. Maryam smiled. "The moment I first recited the Shahada was, of course, very special. But the happiest moment was when I saw my daughter Zainab pray for the first time of her own volition. Then I understood that I had made the right choice, not just for myself, but for future generations too." Zainab was now 15, a strong young woman raised with Islamic values. Deeply influenced by her mother's story, Zainab became active in introducing Islam to her peers. "Mom," she said one day, "your story is very important to me because it shows that Islam isn't just for those born into it. Everyone can experience this beauty." Maryam hugged her daughter. "My dear Zainab, you grew up Muslim from birth, but that doesn't make you less valuable. You live these values naturally, while I learn them by choice. Both have their own beauty." "My friends sometimes ask questions about Islam too," said Zainab. "I tell them your story. You're doing great. But remember, don't force anyone. When people are ready, Allah guides them." Years later, Ahmed and Maryam's son Yusuf also reached marriageable age. Interestingly, he too had met and fallen in love with a Christian girl. "Dad," he said to Ahmed one day, "Emily is a wonderful girl. But she's Christian. What should I do?" Ahmed smiled. "Son, you know your mother's story. What matters is the girl's character and whether you can introduce her to Islam." "But wouldn't she think I'm pressuring her?" Yusuf worried. "If you truly love her, don't hesitate to show her the beauties of Islam. But like your mother, she must decide of her own free will." This conversation moved Maryam deeply. It was as if life was coming full circle, her own story repeating with a new generation. Today, Maryam is 50 years old. It has been 22 years since she chose Islam. She and Ahmed have a happy marriage, their 2 children are going to university, and they hope to have grandchildren soon. One evening, sitting on their balcony with Ahmed, they were talking about the past. "Ahmed," said Maryam, "looking back now, my life before I knew you seems so empty and meaningless." "Perhaps it was," said Ahmed, "but you embarked on a search because you noticed that emptiness. Not everyone can do that." "True, but I've come to understand that love was just the beginning. If I hadn't loved you, I might never have encountered Islam. But if I hadn't loved Islam, our love couldn't have been this deep and lasting." Ahmed held his wife's hand. "That's why I say true love begins with the love of Allah." Maryam closed her eyes and remembered those first days. Her curiosity about Ahmed, her desire to learn about Islam, her first prayer, the moment she recited the Shahada, the difficulties with her family, the birth of her children. "You know," she said to Ahmed, "if someone asked me, what is the most beautiful reason to become Muslim, I would say love." "Love?" Ahmed asked in surprise. "Yes, but the love of Allah. Loving you led me to that love, but the real love was for Allah. I fell in love with His creation, His justice, His mercy, His beauties." That night, after the Isha prayer, Maryam made a long prayer of gratitude. "O Allah, all praise is to you for guiding me to the straight path. All praise is to you for giving me a spouse like Ahmed and children like Zainab and Yusuf. All praise is to you for bringing my family to this beautiful religion. And most importantly, all praise is to you for giving me the opportunity to know you." A thought came to her mind as she finished her prayer. "My Lord, let my story inspire other hearts." Today, Maryam is a respected community member known as Sister Maryam.
The support group she founded has become an international organization, helping new Muslim women from all over the world. In conferences where she tells her story, she always ends with these words: "Dear brothers and sisters, my story is not just about a woman changing her religion. It is the story of a heart's search for truth. Love set me on this journey, but love was just the beginning. True happiness lies in the connection we establish with our Creator. Islam is not just a religion. It is a way of life, a love story, the love of Allah." And today, the words she said to Ahmed that first day still hold true. "I didn't convert to marry him. I converted to believe in the God he believed in. My love was just a flare on the path to the truth." As a final word, a quote from Maryam's journal. 22 years ago, when I chose Islam, I thought I was just choosing a religion. It turns out I had chosen a life, an identity, a family, a community, and most importantly, an eternal love. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is to Allah, Lord of the worlds.